Hey, Danielle here, and you might have seen my email yesterday about a new collaborative that I'm starting. It's a mastermind called Elevate Her, and it's really focused on helping support women elevate to a whole nother level. Before I get into that, I just want to share with you briefly why I had this idea. It's been something that's been brewing within me and has just recently been birthed into an idea that is tangible that I can take out into the world and use to serve in a way that I'm helping more women. So, where did that idea come from? Well, I don't know if you know this, but about 10 years ago, when I was working for corporate, I had a desire to start my coaching program, to become an author, become a speaker, but I didn't know how to get from where I was to that bigger vision or dream that I had for myself. So I went through a 12 month certification program or a program based on how do you work with the thinking mind to begin to see the new possibility for yourself and then to actively take steps in that direction and to recognize when the small self, that the mind of doubt and the mind of fear was talking you out of it. So for 12 months I was invested in this program and continued to go through learning what does it take to overcome my own limited thinking. So 5 years later, I had some clients they've been going through the Dream Builder program because I had certified in it. And some of them said, I need help launching my business. And I thought, this is a perfect mechanism, this launching a business mechanism to put these principles into practice, but also start to focus on the tangible strategies and tactics necessary to grow a business. And actually, that's not my initial thought. If I'm to be honest, my first initial thought was, who the hell am I to teach them? I'm still learning a lot of this stuff myself. But I learned that if I was at least a few steps ahead of them, I could show them what I knew and at least take them further along the way. Well, these were clients who actually were in my Dream Builder program. So they'd already been learning how to work with the mindset. And now I was teaching them, like, okay, let's look at the next steps you can take as far as the types of businesses that you want. Now, I was not an expert in their types of businesses. However, I was a person who always could help them see the next step. Have you thought about this? And in that process, I could see steps for them that maybe they couldn't see for themselves entirely, or maybe they were aware of the steps, but they were hesitating to take the action. They were getting caught in self-doubt and fear. And I could work with them to begin to shift their own thinking where they said, okay, yes, I see how I can take this next step. And then they would take it. And then from there, we could see the next step and the next step and the next. So this process that I took my clients through began to work. And I saw that these women had within them a roadmap, if you will, on how to create that vision that they saw. So it wasn't coming from someone outside of them. Yes, they were probably watching some videos and learning about it, but there was also a guidance within them that was guiding them through the process. And I thought, this is really interesting. Yes, I can show them strategies and things, tactical things that they need to do, but also there's a wisdom within my own clients that if I can show them how to tap into that wisdom, they will be able to get there. And that's not something a lot of coaches talk about, but it's really important for people to recognize. And the risk and the danger is there that if you believe that you have this higher intelligence in you, you might not seek answers outside of yourself. And I'm not saying don't seek answers outside yourself. Certainly, my coaches, my mentors, the books that I read, the programs that I've done have helped me get to where I am, have helped my clients get to where they are. But there's also this recognition that there are answers to every question that you have deep within inside of yourself, that if you can learn how to access that information, you can begin to receive the ideas that are in harmony with that bigger vision that you have for your business, for your life. And so I began to see that my clients had this intelligence. And if I could help them see the next step and believe in themselves and help them take that next step, they would create new results for themselves in their lives, always better than the last. And I began to watch my clients' lives transform in front of my very eyes as I began to lead them through this process. And I was, again, I led them initially through Dream Builder, and then I began to work with them on specific steps that they could take. But I also immersed them in other books that I knew were going to help them continue to work with that mindset side of things. So I'm a firm believer that learning to work within your own mind to tap into this higher intelligence is part of the process to getting to the results that you want. Because even though a formula worked for somebody else, it may not work for you because you have your own resistances against it, or biases, or even your values don't align with it. And that's why a lot of people, I think, struggle with coaches, is because your values don't always align exactly with your coaches. Mine didn't. I loved my coaches, but I had things that aligned with what I believed and how I felt, and things that didn't. And I wanted to learn to create my business the way I wanted to. So when you learn to work with somebody's inner intelligence, you can begin to help people build businesses that are in alignment with their own values, their own intelligences. And then they begin to create a business that's more in alignment with their true selves. And that's what my goal has always been, is I want this to be a business they love. I want it to be a business that's aligned with their values. And so always my goal is to ask the questions. Does this feel right for you? Does this feel good? Do you feel good about this next step? Because I can see if it's aligning with their values, but also I can see if they're hesitating, if they're getting stuck in self-doubt, fear, all the things that show up in that regard. Now, where does this get me as far as the collaborative? So I've been working with clients one-on-one for 10 years, and I've done some group programs as well. But really last year, I got the strong feeling that I needed to start to create a community of women who supported one another and were learning how to think bigger. In other words, learn to work with this inner and infinite intelligence within. And so I thought, okay, well, I have lots of tools in the tool bag, but how do I do that? And so I just stayed in that question, right? And allowed me to work with my own inner guidance as to how I do that. And I began to think about, okay, where do I see women getting tripped up? Where do I see my friends, my clients? Where do I see us getting tripped up? And what are the desires I see for my clients? And I see women who are wanting to be in community. I mean, my clients all crave that connection with other women who are doing similar things. So I see that as a very strong desire. And then when they do meet with other women who are doing it, they feel inspired, they get new ideas, they feel motivated to do things that maybe they wouldn't have thought before. So I was like, okay, clearly people want to connect with other women who are doing similar work, who inspire them, who are motivated, who are goal oriented or focused on that big vision. And so I want to create a community in which the women can learn to work together and they can inspire one another. And that's what the collaborative is all about, is women coming together and inspiring one another, sharing their successes and their stories, but also sharing what's their failures, their frustrations, what's not working, so that the team can kind of rally around and say, let's support you so that you're not bogged down by this for too long. We can help lift you back up so you can get back out there again, because ultimately that's what it takes to get to that bigger vision. And then I thought, well, wouldn't it be great to have a community of women who also are learning the strategies of how to tap into that higher intelligence, the infinite intelligence they have access to? And some people call that a soul or their spirit. And I do believe it's part of that. I do believe very much that we have a spiritual side of our nature. And if we learn to access that more spiritual side, we have access to so much more intelligence and ideas and synchronicities and things working out. And so I'm a firm believer that the more we tune into the spiritual side of our nature, the invisible side of our nature, the more we can, and it's deliberate, the more we can access the ideas that are going to take our business further. And So I incorporated Dream Builder into this program. Now, remember, that was the original program that I was taking my clients through. And I had put a hold on that for a while because it didn't feel tangible enough. I didn't know how to sell it. I can talk about business strategy and I can help people understand that I help you launch your businesses. And there's more tangibility to that. And I was more comfortable talking about that. But how do you sell a program that's all about mindset? And so I struggled with that. And then I really got the strong sense last year of, Danielle, you need to start to bring this back into the work that you're doing with people because it's essential, especially this day and age. I think a lot of people are struggling right now to find themselves in all the chaos and the noise around outside, and all the people who are saying you should do things this way and that way and this way and that way, to find themselves in all of that, to get centered and grounded within that higher wisdom within themselves. That is such an important part of the work that we need to do in the world. And as women, really believe that we are here to help change the paradigm of what's occurring on our planet right now, that we have the ability, because we come from a place of nurturing and caring and compassion, we can bring that feminine aspect in to the work that we're doing and make it more heart-centered work. And so this is basically why, if I can help women tap into this more loving, caring, compassionate side of themselves and still be successful and still make the impact that they want and still, you know, be able to influence more people or connect with more people, then I've done my work in the world, right? And so helping women succeed in business is really, for me, about helping you attune to your higher self and begin to live in harmony with that. And then two, beginning to connect with that bigger purpose that you have in life, which is that passion that you feel for something, for some things. You have a passion for certain things and you feel called to go in that direction. And so helping you lean into that passion, helping you to act from that passion, to begin to operate from that passion, is part of the work that I do with my clients and is part of the work that I will be doing in this collaborative. So I share that with you for you to really think about, what is it going to take for me to get to that next level of being in the world? So it's not even the next level of your business. It's the next level of being, becoming the person that you see in your vision, who is much more confident. She's much more sure. She's the one who says, I've already created immense amount of success. I know what I'm doing and I know what I'm doing. I know how to tap into that higher aspect of myself and allow it to guide me. And that is something that you will be able to take with you for the rest of your life, is learning how to tap into that infinite intelligence and knowing within inside of yourself. So that every time you start to feel shaky and uncertain and unconfident, I'm making up a word there, but every time you start to feel that way, you have the tools necessary to tap you back in to that centered place of knowing how powerful, how intelligent, how incredible you are. And the and knowing experientially that you can create great things because you have that aspect within inside of yourself. You are that. And you're not thinking I'm that. You are that. You've become that. You've embodied that. So that's my invitation for you to really consider, what is it going to take to help up level my way of being in the world? That being with myself, being with that magnificent I am presence that exists within you, and then learning to tap into her intelligence, which is my intelligence, but learning how to tap into that more often, and eventually to a point where that's just your norm. That's what you do. That's my goal for the women who are in Elevate Her, is to really help create a community of women who are tapping into their own infinite intelligence and wisdom, but they're also supporting one another through the process and supporting one another in achieving their goals and dreams. Because I truly believe we can't do it alone. We get lost in our own heads, we get lost in our own thinking, but in a community where we're working together and we're working on the same mindset strategies, and we could say, have you thought about this? Or I'm getting this download or idea for you. What do you think about that? In a community, we have access to so much more information, so many more resources, so many more connections. And so community is where it's at right now, my beautiful friends. I really feel it in my heart, and I think you do too. So if this is resonating with you, I seriously ask you to consider signing up for this collaborative. It's not going to fill itself. But I do know that if this is speaking to you, I would ask that you really tune in and say, does this does this resonate with me? Is this something that I would love to do? And do I believe this is my next step to creating a better life, a better business, and a better me? So that's it. That's what I have for you today. Thank you so much for listening. And of course, if you have questions about this, or you're not sure if this is a right fit or something, you can reach out to me. I'm accessible. That's what makes me different. You can email me, you can text me and say, Danielle, I have some questions about that, or I have some ideas. Do you think I have this big idea that I want to work on? Do you think this program can help me get there? Or I have this passion project, or I have this business idea. Do you think this can get me there? Let's sit down and let's talk honestly about what your goals and dreams are and how this program can support you. And some of them may be personal and some of them may be professional, because you know what? They're all related because you're one person. All right. All right, my dear. Love you. Thank you for joining me for this video. And please reach out and connect and seriously consider joining my collaborative mastermind.